All right, before we all get started, I need everyone to just stand up for a moment. You need to like you've all just been like waking up, you all are hungover. But what I want to do very quickly is I'm going to just do the camera here and there, and I just want you all to like scream Klaviyo boss, like all at once, and then scream a bunch, okay? Can we do that? You scream. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, Klaviyo boss, and then you just scream a bunch, and then I'll let you know when you can stop, all right? Ready? Sure, ready? All right. 3, 2, 1. Klaviyo boss! Yeah! Woo! All right. Did that wake you up a little bit? Awesome. Good. So, I don't even think we have to introduce ourselves. I'm Ben. I'm the one with the hat. And this is Steve.
Hey, guys.
And so, just a little bit of the agenda of what we're going to cover and what we're going to discuss. And so, we're going to discuss what is a messenger bot, what the benefits of them are, and why they're being adopted by stores, and why you probably heard about them. And then we're going to get into the nitty-gritty, like acquisition tactics. So messenger not just being a tactic for retargeting, but for actually acquiring new customers. And then going into the sales tactics. And then finally, how to combine email and messenger into one flow. And so I think the best place to start is just to talk a little bit about what a messenger bot is. So does anyone here have a messenger bot on their store? A couple of you. And how many of you are interested in thinking about it, have been doing some research? And how many of you have no clue and you're like, please educate me? You are very honest, good sir. I appreciate your honesty. So maybe you've seen this on the screen somewhere, on like on a store somewhere. You've seen the send a messenger button, or you've seen this little widget on the bottom right. This is actually from the Loop Loft, which is a Mute 6 customer. I hear that they are the coolest company, one of the coolest companies they work with. But you may have seen this. And so what a messenger bot really is, especially for you and your store, is it's a way to send campaigns and flows to customers on Facebook Messenger. And so I really want you to think about it just like email, but interactive. And so, with like Octane and all that sort of thing, it's just like creating these same kinds of flows that you're doing already with your Klaviyo accounts, with your email, and being able to do it in an interactive way.
Ben, can you talk a little about how the difference in user behavior is besides the messenger to email? Because I know you mentioned that about there's a difference in user behavior specifically from users who are getting messages and people who are getting your emails.
Yes. So there's a couple of like interesting differences when you're talking about messenger versus email. And I think the biggest difference and what changes behavior is the interactivity. And I think a big thing about it is rather than just getting like one kind of message and not being able to reply, people just naturally reply back to the messages. And what you can do with that is collect interesting information. What you can do with that is curate and make custom conversations. And I'll show some of this in the presentation where, for example, a lot of stores will create product recommendation conversations where they'll ask you questions about the kinds of products you're looking for, what your preferences are, and then they'll actually recommend products that are right for you. And everyone goes through a different kind of conversation, and it makes it interactive, which kind of allows you to also then target customers based on some of these interesting segments. So
this is really interesting. I think this slide, like when I was going through the slides initially, I'm not an expert in Messenger, I'll just say that. I learned a lot from Ben over the last, from having him on our podcast and just talking to him on a daily basis. But this slide, I think is a big takeaway for everyone in the audience. Different types of segmentation you could do in Messenger. So number one, which I think is really fascinating, is you can start segmenting the messages you send people based on purchase history. So obviously everyone has their segments of large, high-value customers, people who spent a lot of money in your stores, people who have opted into Messenger but haven't bought. Can you talk a little about each of these segments and how people have used Octane.ai to really segment and really target the right message to the right customer?
So I think the cool thing is just the information you can collect and the information you can sync with your messenger bot. So on the purchase history side, you can sync it with your Shopify or whatever platform you might be using and do things as an example, creating a VIP segment, which we all learned more about yesterday. But you can create a VIP segment saying like, customers who've made 3 purchases over the last month or purchases over $100, create a custom list and send them custom messages or a custom flow. as an example of one of the many kinds of purchase histories. You can even track based on like if they purchased like, they were already in the bot or they were not in the bot. There's lots of cool custom flows you can do there. On location, you can actually ask for a location in Messenger. You click a button and it actually shares your exact location at that time. One cool example that we have of using this is L'Oreal is an Octane customer, and so they actually ask for your location, and then they actually recommend the closest store location, and then you can go and they'll give you the directions for the nearby store location. So it kind of brings it into the physical world as well. Gender with Messenger, you actually do immediately know whether they're male or female, and you can actually target messages based on gender. And then the behavior piece is asking questions. And so the cool thing is you can ask all these questions in a conversational format. Because, if you and I are having a conversation, let's say Corey, if you and I are having a conversation, I'm going to naturally ask you questions like, where are you from, and what do you like to do, and what's your favorite hobbies? And really, that's actually kind of like a form. I'm actually like finding out information. You can turn that information into retargetable segments, customer lists, all sorts of cool things like that.
And I'm thinking under behavior too, you could qualify customers. I know for people who have high dollar price items, I think being able to really qualify people you're driving into your funnel from Facebook or from Google, just to really understand, are these customers actually prospects that are going to make a purchase? I think using Messenger to qualify customers has been something we've had a lot of success with.
Yes. Qualifying customers is a really cool thing, and I'll talk a little bit about that right now, actually. So one of the last things, of course, is that there's 1.3 billion people in Messenger. This number is actually higher. This keeps on growing. And so this is just a simple way in which to reach a large audience. And I think one question that I do get a lot is like, how about the demographics? Does the demographics matter for a Messenger bot? And the answer in general is no. We've seen everything from like Pearl Paradise, for example, has a Messenger bot. And they're like one of the largest distributors of pearls. Their average age audience is like closer in the 50s, but they have really high engagement. On the like younger end, we have a lot of music artists. So Cardi B, Jason Derulo, and Maroon 5 are all customers. And so all these like teenagers and early 20s people, they're sending messages all the time. And so because Messenger is just so big, the demographics work across. And so in general, most of your customers, especially if you're running Facebook ads, have Messenger, and you're going to be able to communicate with all those customers. Last point on this section, once a customer responds, they are added to your Messenger list. And so I think there's a little bit of misconception about how do you get people to add and opt in. And I'm going to talk about tactics to get people to opt in. But in general, once they're starting communicating with your bot, you can add them to a flow. You can add them to a campaign like you would with email. But all they really need to do is show intent by communicating with you over Messenger. Once they've done that, you can turn them into a follower, and you can send them future messages, and you can send them future campaigns.
So real quick on this point, so who in here has run a conversion objective Facebook Messenger on Facebook? Just a show of hands. Okay, cool. We have some people. So what this means is literally you guys can run a Facebook Messenger, a conversion objective on Facebook. Get them to respond saying, would you like a free product? Would you, tell me what you think of this, or so on and so forth. Just get them to respond, and then they're automatically added to your Messenger flow. You could actually build flows directly from Facebook to actually add them to and unlike where someone has to enter an email, all they have to do is just one response.
So this is conversational marketing, and these are some of the kinds of things that you can do. You can connect with customers without asking them to type in an email. I'll show you what that looks like. You can create interactive kinds of messages and have a back and forth rather than just static. You can send push notifications. I'm sure a lot of you have Messenger on your phone. When someone sends you a message, it vibrates your phone. There's actually a push notification on there. Imagine being able to send a push notification to 100, 1,000, 10,000 people and the power that might have.
So I'm going to add one point in here.
Please.
How many people have Messenger flows they set up? All right, cool. That's good. So one thing that we've learned, and this is just something that sounds so simplistic, but I look at the way I text message, I look at the way other people actually text message, and I start using actual lingos inside of my texts to make them look like real conversations, like BRB, FML, RFL. Like literally, I try and Yeah, like we really try and emulate real humanistic conversation. I think like when you start looking at your messenger flows, that's what makes it a lot different than email. It's a lot shorter, a lot more condensed conversation. And people, think about the psychology of when people use messenger. They're on the rush. They're moving around. Whether they're at the gym playing around behind a car. Hopefully they're not texting behind the car, but some of them are. And like they're really moving really quickly. So just try and make them. When you start thinking of building messenger flows, try and make very simplistic actions, but also try and make it seem like it's a real conversation. 'Cause that's what people are used to. They're not used to talking to a robot.
I think adding to that, so very specific tip when you're sending broadcasts out, use your emojis and use your GIFs. The cool thing is you can add these things in conversation, not just that, but images and videos. Use those. Use that rich media. Use those GIFs. As we see, like, especially higher engagement when people are sending more GIFs and sending more emojis, as if it was just like a human conversation, just like as with a friend. That's how you want to treat that channel. Creating carts in conversation. One cool thing too is that you can actually create a cart within a conversation. You can get that like purchase intent. When someone says they want to buy, it opens up like the Shopify web view or the BigCommerce web view, and you can complete the purchase that way. And if they don't complete that purchase, you can follow up with them. You can send an abandoned cart message. You can send them reminders. And you can just collect more and more interesting data, especially when you ask them questions, specific questions about their preferences and about what they're looking for.
So one interesting part of this slide is me and Ben were working on these slide decks earlier today, and we're like, we got to come up with a new name that no one's ever heard before for a type of marketing. So we call it conversional marketing, and that's really unique and interesting. I'm joking, that's a spelling.
It converts. Da-da-da. But the short of it is, this does just help you make more money, and it helps your customers out and makes a more personal kind of interaction and medium. Like the cute dog who has, I don't know how much money. Stacks of money, yes. He's looking pretty good. So, in the beginning of the flow, I think the question that I get a lot, that we get a lot, is how do you actually get people into Messenger in the first place? So, for those who don't know, you can't just suddenly connect a Messenger bot and send a message to everybody who has liked your Facebook page. That's not allowed by Facebook. That's probably a very good thing. You have to build up your list just like you would with an email list. And so all the kinds of tactics that you've done with email, you can do with Messenger. And I'm going to just show you 4 of them that you should immediately do with your Messenger bot. And so those are the send a messenger checkbox, Facebook Messenger ads, comment capture, which I will explain very shortly, and forms and getting people to opt in that way. So, who's seen the send a messenger checkbox on a store? Most of you? Okay. So this is the send a messenger checkbox. What it does is it automatically detects the Facebook account of the person who's browsing. They don't have to connect their Facebook account to your store or anything like that. It's like if you hit the like button on the New York Times website and it automatically posts that to your Facebook page. It's using the same technology. And so maybe about 90% of people who are browsing on the web browser will be logged into Facebook in some kind of way. And you can add this send a messenger checkbox to things like the add to cart buttons, to anywhere where they click a submit button. So you could add it to your email opt-in forms, to your checkout flow, almost anywhere where you would have a form where people would click submit or sign up.
Just one thing, people have to be opted into Facebook, obviously, to see the checkbox. So works really well if you're doing, obviously, Facebook, Instagram ads, because they're logged into Facebook, clicking over.
That's a very good point, because if you're doing Facebook ads, 100% of those people, or pretty much 100% of those people, are going to be having Messenger, and you're going to be able to convert them that way. And so what we see is that you're able to get 2 to 5 times more contact information and signups. As an example, in this flow, this is an abandoned cart flow. You don't need an email address at the beginning to get it. You're able to get them a little bit earlier in the funnel. Rather than at the checkout stage, you can get them at the add to cart stage. And that's very powerful for collecting information. And then you can use that actually to collect email addresses and to create abandoned cart messages and to create campaigns.
So this is...
Yes?
So on this page, it's the product page. If they click right there, what is going to be sent to their messenger?
So it depends. In this case, if they don't complete the purchase after an hour or within 24 hours or so, they would get an abandoned cart message. But you could customize that to be like, I want to send the product to me. You could do a lot of cool different things. Most people do an abandoned cart message, though.
And if customer is not logged into Facebook,
They will. And then it'll give them the option to log into Facebook.
In your software, can we make it so they don't even see it at all if they're not logged into Facebook?
That's an interesting one. I don't know the answer to that one off the top of my head.
All right, I'll talk to you after.
Yeah, let's talk about that for sure. That's a good idea.
So one other thing, go back to that.
Yes, sir.
One other thing, which I think is really interesting, I was talking to you about this earlier, is the conversion rate difference between Messenger versus email. I know a lot of people are gathering emails, and they don't have the Messenger box up there, but you said that there's a 2 to 5x difference in conversion rate hike from Messenger to email, and I think it's really interesting how, from a consumer behavior perspective, people are a lot more trusting and likely to opt into a Messenger than actually put in their email. Maybe that's because the reality is the younger demographic doesn't use email as much as, say, the older demographic. And I just think that's something really interesting.
I think, so how I think about it overall is you're always going to need to do email. Email is like the core fundamental bedrock. But Messenger is a channel that 1.3 billion people use. And by hitting people on multiple channels, you're going to increase your chances of a conversion. You're going to find, for example, some people just don't open their emails as often, or they have some kind of filter. And some people won't open their Facebook messages or just don't use Facebook Messenger. This just gives you a better chance. And the more you can sync the two together, and I'll talk about that, the better your chances are overall. They are like, they interconnect. And the more they interconnect, the better you perform. Yes?
So on Messenger, there's like friends, other, and I don't know what other categories. Where do these messages go? Or is it like email where you're able to send a notification?
So these, if they're using the checkbox, it'll go into the main inbox. The only time it'll go in the other inbox is you can actually send messages to people you have the phone numbers of, but it'll go into the other inbox. Otherwise, it'll always go in the main inbox. Deploying ads that gather intent. This is an example of a Messenger ad. And so one cool thing about a Messenger ad, especially when you haven't talked to the customer before or they haven't purchased before, is you can qualify them and you can gather intent. You can ask them a series of questions like, what are the things that you're looking for? What are the products that you like? And you can learn more about them, and then you can retarget based on that information. If they have a conversation with you, and you, as an example, and you find out that they have dry skin or oily skin, you could retarget a message to them and being like, this is the product probably for you. Let me know if this is something you want. One of the cool things, too, is this reduces the amount of steps that it takes to get to the purchase, because it all happens within Messenger. They ask a few questions, you hit a retargeting, and then they get like the product recommendation, rather than having to go and necessarily load up the website and do all the other steps they might have to do otherwise. This is comment capture. Automating follow-up Facebook comments to get followers. So here's how this works. So you can create a special type of Facebook post on your Facebook page where anybody who comments on it automatically gets a message from your bot, from your Facebook page. And so in this case, what's happening is Apartment 2B, Octane customer, has offered a giveaway, and they say, leave a comment below. You can win this blanket. So someone like Mary Beth here will leave a comment, and when she leaves a comment, she receives a message, and you can customize that message. Apartment 2B said, thanks you for the comment. Type anything below and press enter to confirm your entry. They do that because someone has to reply in order to become a follower of your Messenger experience. But for Apartment 2B, for example, they've gained hundreds, if not thousands of followers for each of one of these campaigns. And so 2 examples of comment capture posts that we've seen work really well in e-commerce are giveaways. This is one from Bottle Keeper. They were offering 2 free Bottle Keeper bottles, and hundreds of people commented, and asking people to vote. And so as an example, Mermaid Pillows asked people to vote which one was their favorite, and hundreds of people commented, and all those people converted, or 90% of those people converted into Messenger followers. We've seen even crazier numbers. We once had Maroon 5 do a comment capture post, and they had 100,000 people comment on their post, and it broke Facebook. So they didn't get all 100,000 that time, but Facebook's helped fix some of that since then. But you can gain a lot of people through this, and we've seen some of our customers even do boosted posts, where you would do a boosted post to your target audience, and that's another way to collect people and get them into your Messenger flow, and then you can start running in campaigns.
How many people here have tried the comment capture post strategy? Oh, cool.
We got like 5. That's awesome. Hopefully all of you try it very soon. And this is forms. This is one of the other ways in which you can gain customer acquisition. And so it's as simple as like a pop-up. And so you can have a pop-up that says like, get a 10% on your order, send a messenger. Another one that I really do like is integrating the send a messenger checkbox into your email flow. And so you can, as an example, add a send a messenger checkbox to your Klaviyo form, your Privy form, your Just Uno form, and have the checkbox. And once they click submit, you will not only get the opt-in, their email address, but you'll also get the messenger opt-in. And so you get 2 birds in one stone in one flow. And so doing this will help you get more people into your messenger experience.
For an exit as well?
Yes.
You didn't want to do it, like say you had like a pop-up to get on your email list.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe for the exit you do that.
Yep, you could. Who wants to talk about sales tactics? Yeah, all right, come on. So these are 4 sales tactics that I believe every e-commerce company, that we believe every e-commerce company should be using and running using Messenger. And I'm going to show you examples of each of them. There are abandoned cart messages, broadcast campaigns, product recommendations, and creating custom flows. So we've talked a little bit about the abandoned cart functionality, the abandoned cart flow. And this is what it actually looks like. Someone adds something to a cart, and if they don't complete the purchase, they receive a message from your store, and then when they open it, they get different options. They have the option to check out, the option to ask for a reminder. One option, they can even like ask and to read reviews, for example. We have a Yotpo integration, so that's the one way you can do that. You can ask different kinds of questions as well, or they can send messages and get some customer help. They're like, I have a question about this product. And we've seen this convert really well. 1 out of 9 of these messages converts into a sale. We see open rates somewhere between 30 to 75% depending on the store. This is an example, Apartment 2B. They were able to increase their revenue by 17% overall by using a messenger bot, especially for the abandoned cart functionality. One important thing I think to note is it actually does not really matter the size of your cart. So we've seen this technology, we've seen this abandoned cart functionality work really well for stores that have like average cart sizes of $30, and we've seen it work really well for cart sizes of $1,000 or more. Apartment 2B, they sell high-end furniture. You can imagine where on that range they are. Activating customers with broadcasts. Who here sends an email newsletter? Who's not raising their hand? What are you doing with your accounts? If you had an email list of 10,000 people and you never sent any emails to them, we would all probably say, like, are you okay? Do you need help? What are you doing? You can do the same things in Messenger, and it's actually shocking sometimes that some of our customers have 10,000, 20,000 people on their Messenger list, even hundreds of thousands, and they're not doing anything with it. They're not sending messages to those customers. This is a simple way in which to convert somebody. You can send a message, a promotional message about like it's swimsuit season or it's the holiday season, and you can send a simple message being like, maybe this is something you want. And that'll appear on their phones. And it's just a simple way in which to engage your customers. My recommendation, don't send it anywhere near, don't send it every week. Don't send it like every day, like you might necessarily, like you don't want to send it so much that you are spamming them, just like you don't want to spam them an email. But if you are sending them really useful broadcasts and you're sending them on a regular cadence, we've seen customers really appreciate that.
Well, yeah, also one thing is to be very timely with these broadcast messages. So if there is a holiday, if Thanksgiving, if there is Black Friday, trying to make these broadcast messages very seasonal and very timely, because I think creating urgency with these messages is what actually sells products we've seen success with. And also obviously personalization, making the message seem like a conversation, going back to conversational marketing. But making them very timely has helped increase conversion rates for us.
Yeah. All right. This is when you're getting to the more advanced pieces. So this is a product recommendation conversation, and I recommend every store create one. And so this is from Pure Cycles. They're a bicycle retailer over in the Los Angeles area. They sell bikes over 500 stores. And so what they do is they ask you questions like, what kind of bike how do you like to sit on your bike? Do you like to sit upright or like to lean forward? what kind of look are you looking for? Classic, vintage, and then it gives you a recommendation for a product. You can already see the personalization in this. And then when they have the personalization, they can actually complete the purchase. And now with this information, now you know which of your customers really wants a modern bike or a vintage bike.
Also, this is for those of you that are figuring out different ways to order for next season on your supply chain. We've had a lot of customers we work with use Facebook Messenger bots to actually do order predictive analysis on which specific supplies they should order for the next holiday season. Messenger works really good for customer feedback, and I think more and more companies are seeing that the supply chain has a massive impact on their business. So being able to use Messenger to say, hey, are you more likely to buy this shirt or this shirt? Are you more likely to do this action versus this action? Just really starting to think about that and using that type of predictive analyst to really help affect your supply chain.
You have a question, good sir?
Can these recommendations be integrated to Klaviyo to be segments, like based on what type of things they like or what kind of bikes they want to ride?
You are reading my mind. So the answer is yes. We actually announced last week a Klaviyo integration. You can actually sync up like the customer list you created here with your Klaviyo account, and then you can run the campaigns into Klaviyo, which is highly recommend doing. You can even create custom flows, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a moment, but the answer to your question is yes.
Is there match type set up where they can match actions from Messenger? Oh, that's probably not ready yet.
We just launched V1. We're at the beginning stages of this. We've gotten a lot of requests for lots of cool other ways to like sync the things together. We've been talking with our friends here at Klaviyo about some of the things. Just wait for V2 is going to be even cooler. This is getting into the custom flows. If you're a Power Klaviyo user, you will feel comfortable with this because you can create custom flows based on time, based on purchase history, based on actions. And so you can have a message that sends to just people who live within 50 miles of New York City, who've made a purchase of over $100 or more in the last 30 days. And you can create these custom automated messages. And we've seen it done for everything from music artists who send messages just to people when they're in their city touring, to announcements of new stores, to creating custom VIP lists and VIP customer lists. And we've seen all of those be really successful. We've seen some of them generate thousands of dollars through just those kinds of campaigns.
Yeah, and just something to really understand right here is to really understand the segmentation of your lists. Obviously, just like with Facebook, if you understand your audience size. I know everyone loves the word segmentation. It's a great word, and it works in marketing. But if you don't have a big list of people and you're just targeting New York, you're obviously not going to get the impact from just targeting people with a messenger drip for people in New York. So really understanding the demographics of your list, I think, is really key when it comes to Messenger, and I'm sure you'd probably agree with that as well. Like understanding who's on your list, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep. And you can automatically create these lists, and you can create lists based on the information you collect from the questions you ask and the gender, and you can create as many or as few conditions as you need for the kinds of lists that you want to create. The more targeted your message is, the better they perform. Because if you're sending a message and you know what kind of things they're looking for, they will just naturally convert better. You were asking about email. Let me talk to you about that. And so, like I said before, Messenger and email, they are two peas in a pod. You want to be doing both at the same time. You want them to work with each other. And there are a couple ways, and I want to only cover two today, but there's others, to use the two together to help each other. One is to use Messenger to collect more email addresses, and two is to create flows that sync your email and Messenger so that, for example, you're not double hitting your customers with the same campaign, with the same message, with the same abandoned cart message. And so collecting emails, here's the cool thing. I don't know, has anyone ever collected emails over Messenger? You have? So you may know that there is a cool feature in Messenger where if you ask somebody for their email, it'll automatically populate a button with their email address directly from their Facebook account. Yep. And so all they have to do is click that button, and they will share their email address with you. And then once you do that, you can automatically sync that with your Klaviyo account, and that's it. And what we've seen on this is, when you ask people for email address, on average, at least 10% of people give you their email address because it's just easier, which is higher than a lot of the standard forms you might see on a website. This is a really powerful way to collect email addresses. You could use it in conjunction with ads, with abandoned cart messages. You can, for example, send a flow where you ask for an email address when after somebody's abandoned a cart. And we've seen it converts better if you're asking for, if you're saying offering something, if you're offering a 10% discount, if you're offering some kind of value. And just like, again, the same kinds of things that you've seen work really well in email, they work really well in Messenger.
And then this, you could also integrate this with Facebook ads as well. So if you're running a giveaway, you're like, where should we send your flowers to? You know, or you could actually integrate that right into your Messenger drip on, you know, through a Messenger ad. So it's a really easy way to capture an email. So you can run a discount or a giveaway saying, get your free, you know, free flowers, and then Messenger opens up. Where should we send them to? Boom. Very simplistic way to integrate giveaways and email capture in Messenger.
Listen to this guy, he's a smart guy. And you can configure flows. And so this is from a Klaviyo flow where you can sync up Messenger and email flow. So the example that you see here is when somebody, when you send a Facebook message over Octane or whatever Messenger platform you're using, for an abandoned cart message, if they don't complete that purchase, you could trigger an email campaign for those who have clicked an abandoned cart or one who, you know, who haven't even opened and clicked the abandoned cart. And so you can create a flow that syncs up Messenger and email based on, you know, who opened, what kind of triggers, custom triggers. There's lots of ways in which you can use it, and you can create these flows that work together. I think the biggest thing is you could use Messenger to collect the email address if you don't already have the email address, and then you can start email campaigns based on the actions they took within Messenger. You can sync up the list that you created in Messenger and use that to create campaigns in email. It creates for a really dynamic way to hit people on multiple channels so that you make sure that, you know, if they prefer one or the other, you're good. They're going to see your message. They're going to see your announcement, whatever it might be.
Also, clear messaging. I feel like a lot of companies will send an email out and send another Messenger blast out, and there's two like non-consistent messages. They're sending the same exact thing over and over again. So this is a way that you could literally trigger both of them to have one clear, concise message to your audience. I feel like I get a lot of emails from companies, and I get Messenger blasts from the same company. I'm just like, you just sent me that in an email. So this is a way to have one clear, concise message and one clear call to action.
And remember, like the email and the message, they should not look the same. The message is more personal, is like a little bit more emoji, is a little bit more GIF, it's shorter. You want to convey a larger amount of information, you should use email. Email, like, you want to make sure that those messages are different and unique. And this is an example of what it could look like. This is an abandoned cart message from apartment 2B, and this is a beautiful abandoned cart email that apartment 2B sent over Klaviyo. You can tell and feel the differences, but they both work and they are synced up flow. There's got to be more, right? RuPaul's great. So we've covered a lot of like the sales and acquisition tactics. There's still a couple of other things I just want to highlight quickly that Messenger can do that you should be implementing as well. One is just keeping customers in the loop. You can activate shipping and receipt notifications. You can have that checkbox at the checkout stage, and they can opt in to receiving messages about their order. We've seen people really love that. Super simple. And you can answer questions instantly. And so this is the customer care side of a Messenger bot. And so as an example, there are probably 100 different ways somebody can ask about a return policy, right? And it's always the same answer. And so you can help automate the answer to those common questions using Facebook Messenger and make it short, make it interactive. You can even create troubleshooting guides. And then you can, whenever someone says something related to a return policy, it'll recommend that conversation and it'll guide them through that. And if the bot doesn't understand or it doesn't have the right conversation, it can connect them directly with a human. And you can use this with your existing customer support platforms with like a Gorgeous or with a Zendesk or with another kind of thing, especially if there's an integration. We may or may not be announcing an integration next week. But you can do the automated customer care, help save your team time, help save your team money. I think one thing that is important to note is that when you activate Messenger as a channel, you will naturally get messages through this channel. And so you do need to be prepared for that. But by having automated answers to some of the most common questions, that'll help reduce the load on your team.
Also, I guess integrating one other idea that we've been considering is integrating that with the comments on Facebook ads. Have anyone ever ran a Facebook ad and got a comment that they really didn't like their business? No, that never happens. It never happens to anyone. But I think just to get better reviews, to really do better customer care, I think the integration with comments has been something we've been playing around with as well, with the ad comments.
Oh yeah, that's so fun. Oh, two suggestions or two cases where this is like there's other cool ways to use this. One is like advanced troubleshooting. So GoPro has a bot where they will troubleshoot over every single camera and every single issue. So it'll go and ask you what kind of camera you have, what the issue is, and it helps them save thousands upon thousands of dollars in customer support fees because the bot is automating the troubleshooting piece. And so you can go really deep and really complex in these conversations. The second way I've seen is Easter eggs. And so we have a music artist on the Octane AI platform. Her name is Poppy. She's a universal music artist. Has anyone ever heard of Poppy? The British one. She's the one who goes on YouTube and she says, "I'm Poppy. I'm Poppy." I'm going to show you this video. It's 10 minutes of her literally saying, "I'm Poppy," and it has like 20 million views. And you'll wonder what happened to humanity. If you message your bot, m.me/Poppy, you could message over 1,000 different things, and she will have a response for you. There are Easter eggs upon Easter eggs. People message her bot all the time because they just want to find all the Easter eggs. You can have a discount Easter egg. You can have all sorts of kinds of things. You can have so much fun with this, you don't even know yet.
One other thing I want to add, another way we're testing out Messenger, and I'm always trying to think of outside the box ways to solve problems with Messenger, of like other types of business problems. How many of you need more reviews in your store? Amazon, you sell on Amazon, you sell on all these platforms. Now there's like a really simple way to get reviews and to incentivize people to get reviews on Messenger. So integrating a form of giving away something in exchange for a video review. Some of our best ad types that we run on Facebook are what we call UGC mashups, or user-generated content. Well, now there's a way for you to communicate one-to-one with people in asking for different types of UGC for them to build out. Here, build out a piece of video with our product, and we'll give you a $20 gift card. Well, instead of emailing that out to someone, they're already on Facebook, they're already engaged. Sending a quick message to a broadcast of your list saying, "We'll give you something for free in exchange for a review." Well, now there's a unique way to get 5, 10, 30, 20, 30 reviews really quickly. So that's just one other idea of how to get reviews using Messenger.
And then that's not only just getting the reviews, but using them in Messenger to increase conversions. Because you can add, as an example, automatically a 5-star or a 4-star review from your store to an abandoned cart message and increase the conversion rate. You can even let your users read messages, read reviews, so that they can make an informed decision.
Yep. What's next? I know everyone's dying to hear what's going on. What's next on the Messenger side? So there's a lot of other platforms that we've been discussing besides Facebook. I know not everyone uses Facebook anymore. We have Instagram, we have WhatsApp, we have Google. Like Ben, I love to hear your thoughts on just sharing with everyone. What's next, man? What's next on Messenger? What do we got cooking? What's under the hood, man?
So I can't say. What I can say is that there's more than one messaging app and more than one conversational platform that your customers are using and really care about. And supporting all of those channels is important, I think, to both you and to us. I can't say exactly when or exactly which ones, but you might be knocking on some kind of door. So stay tuned.
Could be sliding into more DMs really soon as well. You never know. But I think Messenger is just becoming, as Facebook, I feel like, learns how to use Messenger without pissing people off. I feel like they're going to start releasing it to more of their, to more other platforms. And I think like getting on Messenger right now to really understand which specific types of messages drive actions to your customer base, I think is the most important thing. Of really getting in super early before it's a very mature marketing platform.
I think he's very wise. So we only have like 3 minutes left, but we want to make sure, and we've answered your questions. If you have any questions, I know we've covered a lot. And I want to thank you all for being here. But does any of you have any questions about Messenger? Okay, there's a whole bunch. Let's start back there, and then we're going to move towards the front, all the way back, and then up here, and then here.
So I have one quick question for you. So if there are opt-ins that are on our list and they came in through either, one of the many ways, maybe it's they added to cart and they had the pre-check check mark there. What are the rules and regulations that we have to abide by through Facebook to go ahead and say, hey, can we send marketing material to these guys 1 week after an opt-in, 1 month after an opt-in, 1 year after an opt-in?
No, that's a great question. So you can send. So the rule is called 24+1, and we built it into our product so that it will automatically help you keep in compliance. But in general, you can send as many non-promotional messages as you want, like a news update, things like that. If you're doing a specifically promotional broadcast, you're allowed to send it to people who've interacted with you since the last time you sent a promotional message. And so each time you send a promotional message, I suggest sending something else that gets them to re-engage, and then you can send a new promotional message. And there's a feature you can just click promotional message, and you can see how many people you can send that way.
Remember, you just got to get them to respond.
You just got to get them to respond.
So just say something that they would all agree with. Does traffic on the road stink? Yes, it does. It's really terrible.
Do you like discounts?
Okay, we only have time for one more question, so I just want to make certain that
Okay, cool.
we can get to one more person.
One
if there's
more
another
up here.
question.
I don't think you've asked your question.
Do you guys integrate with Shopify in a way that you can pull order information into the message as a dynamic tag?
We call it in-bot products, and the answer is yes. So you can actually pull it in, and whenever you update the product in Shopify, it'll automatically update in the Messenger conversation. Cool. Hold on. So, Steve, everybody, I hope you got value out of this.
At a show of hands, how many of you would like us to email you the presentation? Okay. You got a lot of email. How many want it through Facebook Messenger? We can send it through Messenger as well.
You can slide into my DMs anytime you want. I'm just at /Ben Parr on Facebook. But seriously, you can just email us, steve@mute6.com, ben@octaneai.com. Any questions, you want the deck, any ideas. I know they're going to share all this. Happy to have that conversation here and beyond. And all I can say is thank you.
Yep. Thanks for waking up early today.
Thank you so much.